Because Scott came in with the gentleman in the suit, and I thought that was the lawyer, but it's not. That's one of his witnesses. So I don't think Larry is here. And Ed's not here either. I don't know if that's planning to come or not. James.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right. Mike, is Ed planning to come?
He's tired of working.
Well, I think we might be missing Scott's.
Scott, is Attorney Goldberg here?
What?
Attorney Goldberg, is he here?
I am here.
Oh.
okay.
Great.
There he is. Okay. Yeah, I think probably we can we'll start whenever you're ready.
Now, this is the order of business. Right. Turn this on or not?
Are the mics on?
I have
Testing. Yeah, they're on.
That's a Leanne question.
Okay, the Hopkinton Board of Canvassers meeting of April 7th, 2025, business agenda. We are going to open the meeting now. There'll be no public comments allowed. I'm going to have the opening statements will be from Mike, Bob, and I understand that Ed is not here, but he may come in later. Is that correct? If either one of you would like to make an opening statement, I'm going to have to swear in each one individually, okay? I don't have to go down, do I?
Well, I wouldn't swear them in for the opening statement, but I would if they testify, because the opening statement is an argument. It's not.
Oh, all right.
So I would swear them in if they testify, but maybe not for the argument.
If either one of you want to make opening, please come to the.
And state your name, so.
Robert Burns. I have filed this complaint due to the fact of our town ordinance. And as far as I'm concerned, our voter rolls state the fact that you cannot be on a board or a commission in our town unless you reside in our town and are a resident of over 6 months. So I have put forth evidence of Mr. Hurst not being a resident for quite some time in our town and wanted to block the fact of being on boarding commissions in our town. About my opening statement, I put forth all my information to you ladies at many points in times. You have digital proof, you have written statements, and I also have 2 other witnesses that were filed to be witnesses. And I'd like to make sure the fact that I respect the chair said there was no public comment. So anybody that is not listed that we did not file on either side of this line not be able to speak today. And I thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Geary, 16 Tomaquag Road, Bradford. Chair, good morning. I'd like to reemphasize exactly what Mr. Burns had said. You have the proof, digital, in writing. Scott does not live here in town. In accordance with the town ordinances, you should follow those. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. The respondents, Attorney Goldberg, would you like to speak?
I would, and I'm not going to speak from the podium because I'm disabled.
Okay.
I would respectfully point out to the board, the only jurisdiction here
remove Bill Hurst from the voting or retain his right to vote. The question is whether or not he's a qualified elector to vote. As far as I'm concerned, the only questions that are germane leave Part B of the statute, which are the questions that are to be asked in challenging a voter. 20 of them. I would also point out that this is not politically particularly significant at this time. I do not believe that there is an election or a vote anytime contemplated in the town, state, or national government of an election within the next 30 days. Therefore, the voting roll, as it were, or anything material, is in a state of quiescence or rest. If the town takes a vote that is incipient, that is the time that it becomes more than moot.
1 second, we're not getting your audio on the video, so we're going to try and rectify that, sir.
Always agree
If you could just restate for the purposes of the tape, what your main point is in 2 sentences.
Mr. Goldberg, could you sit over here? And that way, I'm worried it's not gonna be, that mic is not gonna work with the Zoom meeting.
Oh, okay, that's a question. First of all, in my condition, I can't carry a bunch of things.
We'll help you.
Since I need my- Yeah, no, I'll be all right. Sure. Yeah, he's good. Thank you. I'll be very brief. I believe it's Section B of the statute lists the questions that are appropriate to challenge a voter. That's all that this board can do. You're either eligible to vote or you're not. This is not removal from a particular membership in a board or commission or anything like that, notwithstanding the ordinance. I believe the members of the commission, board, or whatever in question are subject to the judgment of the members of that board, not the Board of Canvassers. You decide whether or not an individual is a qualified elector and voter of the town. The questions are statutory, and I believe those are the only issues that are germane. I will have a number of witnesses to address those issues. Thank you.
Mr. Hurst,
He's not speaking.
he's not speaking?
He's not speaking as an open. No,
Okay.
I
Okay,
do that
all right,
twice.
thank you.
Yes. So now it's time for the complainants to present their case. Discuss their evidence. And so this was when you would swear in all the witnesses who testify now, and they would put on their evidence and have their witnesses testify.
I have a point of order. What is the total complement of Board of Canvassers?
They're all three are here.
There are only.
Yeah.
Three are
Yes.
here.
And two is enough for a quorum.
Thank you.
So the respondents get sworn in.
No, the complainants first.
Complainants
Yep.
are sworn in. All right. Complainants are going to be sworn in. Now, I believe Mr. Hurst? No. We've got two of them here, and then I have Ed Moreau.
Joe.
Joe Moreau. Was there anybody else?
Carolyn,
And Carolyn is here as well.
Carolyn.
Carolyn.
Carolyn Lake.
All right, one at a time, I'll swear you in. Absolutely. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Could you state your name?
Joseph Moreau,
Do you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes, I do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Robert Burns.
Do you swear that you will tell the whole truth, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Michael Gary?
Thank you. Do you swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Now, all right, on the other side.
No, it's time for the complainants and their witnesses to present their evidence and to testify.
Okay,
So however they want to proceed, whatever order they'd like to go in.
okay.
Robert Burns. Burns, B-U-R-N-S. U-R-N-S. I believe I covered this in my opening statement. I have provided you with digital photocopies from Mr. Hurst of looking for residency in the town of Hopkinton, proving that he is not a resident. I guess that this challenges the fact of whether or not he's a voter. Never mind the boards and commissions. With that being said, of no elections being taking place within the next 30 days. However, we actually have a very big one that is important to everybody in the town tomorrow, which is a budget meeting, which affects every taxpayer in our town. And your decision here today dictates whether a resident or a non-resident can vote tomorrow. And I think that is very challenging to all constituents of Hopkinton. I've given you written statements of where, and he has also of where he has been residing, proving that he does not reside in the town of Hopkinton. I don't know how much further or more evidence that you could possibly need to see. I mean, it's all in black and white, and it's all there, and it's all public knowledge. I thank you. I also have two witnesses that would like to make a statement. I'd like to call my first one, Joseph Moreau.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does that conclude this testimony? That's supposed to be testimony. Is that concluded?
That's
I want to know when my opportunity to cross is.
a good point, Mr. Goldberg. Bob, are you finished with everything that you want to testify about? Because Mr. Goldberg has a right to cross-examine it.
But isn't that after we hear from the respondents?
Well, that's what I'm wondering, is that all of your testimony? Yeah, I think, then yes, I think that Bob should come back up and be cross-examined then.
But we haven't sworn in the others. And, according to the agenda, they're supposed to, the cross-examination comes after the respondents call their witnesses.
Well, it's direct and cross-examination of the witnesses. So I mean, they get to decide what order they would like to go in, but Mr. Goldberg is right that once they conclude their testimony, that he should be able to cross-examine.
Okay, so our chair should swear them in?
Well, Bob has been sworn in, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're going to be the only other one who speaks, sir, Mr. Goldberg? I just wanna make sure.
Well, he gets to question the witness.
Right,
Yes.
right. Yes, okay. Got it. Thank you. Excuse my mistake. You want to cross-examine?
Is this time now? We're ready for cross-examination?
Yes.
Thank you. Sir, where do you live?
445 Main Street, Hopkinton, Rhode Island.
How far is that from Maple Street?
3 miles?
When's the last time you drove by me?
Yesterday?
Drove down the street?
Yep.
Did you observe the place where the voter last resided?
Yes, I have.
What was that address?
I believe it's 18 Maple Court.
You certain of that?
No, I'm not. The number, the house number, I want to say it's 18. Pretty sure.
Did you check the voter rolls? German? What address the voter?
From 2 years ago?
How about a month ago?
Didn't know we had a vote a month ago.
You know what voter rolls are?
Yeah, it's where you're registered to vote.
Yeah, it's a roll, it's a record maintained by the. Did you check?
No, I have not.
You need longer wires.
Push the
Pull
bench.
the pew close.
Yeah.
So presently, you don't have any firsthand information about what particular address he's registered from.
In the last 30 days?
Yeah.
No, I do not.
How long have you lived in town?
About 18 years.
Did you ever during that period of time go on a vacation?
How is this irrelevant to my statement?
If you're objecting that it's irrelevant, the board can vote on it.
I'm objecting.
Good for you.
I would like to ask, can I ask a question? Why would you be?
Are you asking me? Or are you asking him?
I'm asking why you're asking him about the voter rolls. We take care of the voter rolls.
He came forward as a complainant, as a witness. He's supposed to testify as to firsthand knowledge. If he doesn't have firsthand knowledge, that is impeachment. Now, we've already established he doesn't know what address he's challenging. So that's why I asked, and the voter rolls haven't been introduced as evidence. And unless they're introduced as evidence at this hearing, they're not evidence. That's why I'm asking.
All my evidence was introduced to the Board of Canvassers, and it's 20 Maple Court.
We do have the voter rolls. Would you like us to introduce them?
It's not my job to buttress the complainant's case. You may, excuse me, you may introduce such evidence as you choose to if you choose to introduce it sua sponte. But if you do such a thing, and this is, and a finding results that is adverse to my client, then I will certainly challenge it at the Board of Elections.
Let it go. We'll have our time.
Right.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. And this is an on the,
I'm sorry.
this is an on the record
I
proceeding.
understand that.
I would suggest that you give Mr. Goldberg some leeway to ask his questions unless they get too far afield.
Okay.
This is not the kind of recording where you can repeat to me what my last question to the witness was, so the record remains clear. Is that?
Last question was that I had taken a vacation.
No question is pending, sir.
It was. You asked me
It
if I was on
wasn't to
vacation.
you. And I'll
It
call
was
for,
directed to me.
I will
Replay the
call
video.
for regular order. This is not an encounter group. It's a legal proceeding on the record.
You asked me a direct question.
I'm not going to have a colloquy with this witness. If this is
You call
going
it
to
what
be
you
his
want.
behavior, I'm going to ask him to be dismissed.
Let's just stop. Ask the questions. Answer the questions. There will be rebuttal afterwards. All right? Ask your questions and you answer them to the best of your ability.
What was my last question? Thank you. You have the question in mind, sir.
Question in mind?
Yeah. You remember the question that the stenographer just repeated to you?
Yes, I've already stated that. I tried answering your question.
Have you been on a vacation in the last 18 years?
Yes,
How long were you away?
4 days.
And that's the maximum time that you've absented yourself from the jurisdiction during the time period that you purport to be a qualified and elected voter of the town.
Recently, yes.
What's the longest you have been away? Is that?
7 days.
You should wait until I finish my question for the.
I thought you were done.
I wasn't, for the sanctity of the record. I'm not having a conversation with you, sir. I'm examining you. During that time, when you were you absent from the state of Rhode Island?
Yes.
And did you vote in any other place?
No.
How long do you think it would be acceptable to be absent from the town to disqualify you as a qualified elector and voter?
When I changed my address.
I'll ask the question again. How long do you think it would be acceptable for you to be absent from this jurisdiction to be removed as a qualified elector and voter?
When I changed my address.
So it could be years or it could be 20 minutes, whenever you choose to change your address. That's your response, sir?
No, fair is 60 days, 90 days, 30 days. When you no longer reside in a town.
Well, when you went away, you weren't residing here, were you?
I wasn't residing nowhere. It's called vacation.
You slept elsewhere, didn't you?
Maybe I stayed awake the whole time.
Okay. Did you remain there for a 24-hour cycle?
Yeah. You want to go with me next time?
So 90 times those 24-hour cycles. That's the period of time that seems to you, when you're pressing your complaint, that would be reasonable to stay away?
I don't follow the question here. Chair,
I'll ask you again. How long must you absent yourself, as phrased in your complaint, from the jurisdiction to be disqualified as a qualified elector and voter in the framework of the complaint that you're making against Mr. Billhurst?
the moment I move out of town,
Move out of town.
the moment I'm homeless,
When you're homeless, then you're saying that that person should be disqualified as a qualified elector and voter. Is that your position, sir?
agreed if they don't reside in our town,
I'm
yes.
sorry, I didn't hear your answer.
I said yes.
Is it your position that Mr. Billhurst is homeless?
Absolutely was.
You said yes.
Absolutely was.
He was homeless.
Yes.
Was he homeless now, in your opinion? Is that your evidence?
No, I believe he's vacationing in a hotel in Groton.
You believe he's vacationing? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Does that disqualify him from being a qualified elector and voter in this town?
Yes, because he doesn't have a resident in this town to come back to.
Do you have any evidence as to his intention to reside in the town?
I don't think there's evidence of any
Sorry,
of his
I can't
intentions.
understand you. Say that again.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't understand you or your questions.
Too bad. Say that again.
Too bad.
please. Yes, too bad.
Does this guy
You-
know how
you
rude
have
he is
proffered-
being?
You have proffered yourself as a witness.
The attorney speaking, and let's quiet it down. No, nothing from the audience at all. It's between two people.
Well, I object to your rudeness.
That's too bad.
Well, it's too bad I further remove myself to answer any more of the gentleman's questions to be rude to me, because I have not been rude to him. Sorry, Chair.
Move to strike all of his testimony. I haven't concluded my cross-examination.
Well, I'm not sure why we would move to strike, but can you ask Bob questions?
This is, excuse me, this is a consultation by the board with its counsel, which I believe in some respects is privileged. But it's either on the record, in which case it's not privileged, or it's off the record, in which case you can engage in my opinion, in a privileged colloquy.
Mr. Goldberg, how would you like to proceed if Bob has decided that he's not going to answer your questions?
I move to-
I can't force him to stand there and continue.
He's a complainant.
I agree.
It is as though a prosecution witness suddenly said, I'm not going to talk anymore because I don't like the questions. That's grounds for striking his testimony in its entirety, as the right to confrontation in such a pivotal right as the right to vote is in question. It is one of our most sacred rights, and it is frustrated by his sudden shyness with respect to answering questions.
I'm not Mr. Burns' attorney, so I can't advise him what to do or what not to do right now. I'm here as the attorney for the board only.
My motion stands. Move to strike. I think it's a matter of, I haven't finished. a matter
You
of
can- You
well-settled
can grant or
law.
deny his motion.
All right. Can I deny his motion and can we speak to
Is that question directed generally
it?
or to your?
I'm asking the question of someone, my attorney. I am not a judge and I don't profess to be one. I am trying to run this and be fair to everybody.
Unfortunately, Madam Chair, the structure of the government here has cast you in the role of the judge.
I
And it
understand
is,
that.
excuse me, it is my job to protect Mr. Bilhurst
Mhm.
and to make sure that his due process rights are protected in such a pivotal right as voting. Now, if people find that disagreeable, as I said very candidly, too bad. I have no obligation to be anything but accurate in my presentation, my examination, and the law.
I'm asking a question of the attorney.
Then it's not my business. Please feel free to consult with him.
I think that you absolutely can ask Mr. Burns questions, yes.
Please, would you please step back forward?
To this, I
Mr.
object. My cross-examination has been frustrated. Now the board is acting essentially as a star chamber to
We
procure
are
the.
not.
I
we are
haven't
not-
finished, ma'am. This is procedure for the record. This is star chamber style proceeding. And my right of confrontation, Mr. Bilhurst's right of confrontation, is now frustrated. And the board is seeking to act in a manner sua sponte to further the prosecution, as I see it, the prosecution in this matter. Therefore, I object, and I say so on the record, so that the Board of Elections will have an opportunity to see me air my position. Thank you.
Madam Chair, just for one moment, I would just point out that Rhode Island General Law 17-8-7, which applies in this proceeding, says that the board may receive any other evidence that the board may deem necessary, respecting the right of any person to have his or her name upon the registry or to vote. So you can receive whatever evidence you would like, and you can certainly ask questions yourselves.
Thank you. Would you please step back forward? Thank you.
You can certainly
Thank you, Madam
encourage
Chair.
Mr. Burns to cooperate with the cross-examination, which I think would, provide a, I mean, I'm not saying that Mr. Goldberg is wrong to object, but I think that you also can ask questions. I would encourage the witness to, participate in the cross-examination so that we don't have a situation where your decision, you don't want to create a reason for your decision could be, it could be overturned or challenged. But yes, you as the board can ask questions. I'm not Mr. Burns's lawyer. I cannot tell him to answer the questions or not.
I would like to ask Mr. Burns. You provided the board with a number of papers and I would urge you to put them in to your file so that you can continue with what you were talking about with Attorney Goldberg. Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is my first time. You had a number of papers that you presented.
Yes.
I believe these should be put onto the record.
Yes, I would like to submit anything that I have submitted to the board to be put on the record into evidence.
Objection.
Okay.
I've had no opportunity for voir dire of these
You,
purported exhibits,
you have them,
which first should be marked individually for identification.
they have, Attorney Gold. You have them. You have every single one of them. They came with their affidavits.
That is not my objection. Whether I have them or not, they're not part of the evidence, and then until they're properly introduced, and I have an opportunity to challenge them individually. I do not have any obligation to challenge them because they were sent to me or sent to the board or published in the newspaper or anything else. This is the hearing. This is where the evidence is received. This is the way it works in this country. As your counsel, I'm confident will tell you.
I believe that you know what you put in. I think you can testify to it.
Yes,
I would agree that if you are going to accept documents as exhibits, that you would want to mark them as exhibits for the
Okay.
hearing.
All right,
So if Mr. Burns has a copy of his documents.
I do not with me.
you know what the documents are.
Most of them, yes, I do.
Yeah. I believe that you should testify to that. And we can put them into. You have a copy of this?
I mean, that is a copy of the complaint
All right,
with the documents attached.
all right, this is a copy of the complaint with the documents.
Okay, so this is just for clarification purposes, this is the evidence that has been submitted by the complainant. We are going to formally enter it as evidence, even though you have had a chance, Attorney Goldberg, to see this evidence. This is as a public hearing, we are entering this evidence, which our complainant will go over.
Is that pronouncement the ruling of the board?
Yes,
To which I give notice to the stenographer, and for the record, I object for the reasons I've already stated.
Has Mr. Goldberg had an opportunity to see those documents that were just handed to the witness?
yes.
Well, I haven't seen what the board member has passed to him. They may recite that it's this or that, but I haven't
think-
seen it.
No, he should be given an opportunity to see what it is that was just given.
You want to let him look at that, please?
I have reviewed these papers. They are not marked individually. I believe they should be dealt with seriatim with individual markings as I have different objections and comments to each one of the individuals.
Your objections duly noted for the record. Still present your evidence.
Number one is a no trespass order for 20 Maple Court. Number two is a Wesley Sun newspaper article. for selling.
Objection.
We're not hearing. I'm not hearing.
Speak louder. So your number one was?
Number one was a no trespass order for 20 Maple Court. Number two was a Wesley Sun newspaper article for selling 20 Maple Court.
Objection.
Registered. Continue.
Three was a Facebook post looking for residency in the town of Hopkinton. Four is a district committee filing form. And the picture that is put forth is the no trespass due to structure unsafe for human occupancy. Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Connecticut property transactions.
Objection.
Received. Continue.
I don't know what more you want from.
So he has read the evidence into record.
Thank you. Do you want to ask?
I think it does make sense to mark each exhibit separately so that the record is more clear.
All right, we can do that.
So I would say that the complaint form would be A. The order could be B. The photo of the front door, C. The notice from the Westerly Sun would be D. The Facebook post, E. And the district committee organizational form, F. Was that everything?
I believe so, and the town clerk is marking it. Is there anything else you want to add to your evidence?
Yes, if somebody would actually has a copy, I submitted just the other day on March 31st, another photo that I was not in that packet. That was just submitted on March 31st. Would that have to be itemized first?
Yes, this is the letter that you sent.
Yes. So which item number would this be?
I think I'm entitled to see it
Yes.
before he
Oh, yes, absolutely. Let
testifies.
Mr. Goldberg see it.
That's gonna be correct. Gee. We're gonna give him a minute. Do you have anything else, Attorney Goldberg, to ask?
He's already refused to answer my questions. He doesn't get to do it twice.
Mr. All right, we'll call the next witness.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Joe, do you have any documents,
No,
any like actual physical evidence?
No,
Just
I'm just
testimony?
gonna speak.
Okay.
good morning.
State your name, please.
Good morning, Joe Moreau, Old Depot Road. I'd like to thank you for your time today. Myself and my wife moved to Hope Valley from Western Coventry in May of 2000. We moved here because of the rural nature of our town. I became more involved in town activities in the summer of 2018. I was very active in attending all town council planning board meetings. Reason for this was because of a proposed solar project across from our home. I first met Scott Billhurst after a town council meeting concerning this solar project. He was not a member of the council at that point. I realized that he was a hoarder as we were talking next to his car. The reason I mention this now is that, in my opinion, this is the root of the problem and the reason we are discussing this now.
Objection.
Excuse me.
Move to strike.
On August 9th, 2024.
May I have a ruling on my objection?
Duly noted. Objection duly noted.
That doesn't mean that you've sustained or overruled.
Overruled.
Am I going to be constantly interrupted by this gentleman?
When I see fit.
When you see fit. Thank you for being in charge, Mr. Goldberg, because I will not put up with your rudeness.
How are you going?
On August
Stop.
9th, 2024. On August 9th, 2024, a certified letter was sent to Scott stating that our zoning officials were going to condemn his property. I have copies of the minutes of the special town council meeting on September 6th, 24, where this was discussed, scheduled, considered, and possibly vote to retain special counsel for building and zoning department.
Objection. Move to strike. Hearsay and irrelevant.
Is that into the minutes?
That is on the record in our town council for the September 6th special town council meeting. It's also noted, duly noted in the minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Objection overruled.
I also have, well, Sherry DeJardins, who has worked for our town since 2002, said that these issues go back to 2002 and before. I have attended court hearings in our town to help support Scott during these difficult times.
Objection. Hearsay.
That is on the record.
Overruled.
I was our Director of Public Welfare from 2020 to 2022. I offered several times to help Scott with his housing issues by filling out an application for housing at Canachy Cliff. He refused each time. I've helped Scott obtain heating oil assistance. I also offered to help Scott sell his house. Again, he has refused. During the public comment section of the council meeting on October 7th, 24, that is part of our record. I said I was attending the meeting in order to help a friend in need. I'm here today to help Scott in need. I have a copy of the minutes of the meeting, and they're also available on our website. The reason that I have mentioned all of these housing issues is the reason Scott is not a resident of Hopkinton. I spoke with Sandra Johansson, the chair, on October 9th of 24 about my concerns with Scott's residency. I know another resident who sent a letter with concerns. Besides being the director of,
Strike with respect to the no another resident can send a letter, also hearsay.
it's on the record.
Is that on the record?
That letter is on the record.
Are you, is he referring to the letter from Ms. Light?
I'm referring to a letter from Carolyn Light,
Who will be here to testify?
which is on the record.
Been overruled.
Besides being the Director of Public Welfare, I was also on the Charter Review Committee. I am currently on the Economic Development Commission. I am involved in our town now to make up for all the years that I did nothing. From what I was told, Scott has recently lived in Peacedale, Wakefield, and Wesley. His house has been sold and he is no longer a resident of Hopkinton.
Objection. Rank hearsay.
It'll be 8 months this coming Wednesday.
That isn't on the record anywhere that I know of yet.
It's been on Facebook, if you consider that part of the record. It'll be 8 months this Wednesday since
I
the cert,
request a
excuse me,
ruling.
I'm speaking.
Too bad.
Too bad.
I request a ruling.
I'm going to overrule you on that one. That has not been on the record to my knowledge. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Being on the Charter Review Committee, I have knowledge of the documents. I have also a copy of our town charter pertaining to sections 1224 and 1231, which discusses residency and information. Section 1224 qualifications for elected office of our charter. All elected officers of the town shall be qualified electors of the town who have been a resident for at least 6 months and 1 day and shall be qualified as provided by this charter. And if any elected officer of the town ceases to be a resident of the town, the office held by that person shall become vacant. That's our town charter. In closing, I want to say that I have tried several times to help Scott with a variety of issues. The bottom line is that at this time, Scott is clearly not a resident of Hopkinton. He has not been a resident for at least 8 months.
Thank you. Do you want to cross?
I do.
I can't wait. Do you mind if I sit down? I have a little disability with my hip.
As long as you better, can we hear you?
You'll hear it.
Okay.
You're here testifying as a complainant against Mr. Bilhurst. Isn't that true?
No. I'm testifying as a witness.
Are a witness for Mr. Bilhurst or against him?
I'm stating the facts concerning this issue before our board.
Are you objecting to him being a qualified elector and voter in town?
I stated the fact that he is not a resident of our town.
And therefore, are you objecting to him being a voter in town?
If he's not a resident of our town, how can he vote in our town?
Are you objecting to him being a voter in your town?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
How long, well, let me ask this. You've used the term resident several times. What is your definition of resident?
You go home to 20 Maple Court and you open the door and you live in the house. That is a resident.
Might he go home to another location in town and open the door?
He's not a resident.
That wouldn't make him a resident,
He's not a resident.
in your opinion.
He is not a resident.
In your opinion, sir. That's what you're testifying to the board about. Is that
According to our
correct?
charter, you have
Does
to
the
be a
charter
resident.
define resident?
I just read it to you.
Tell me the definition of resident in the charter, expressed in the charter? Please quote it to me.
Well, I'll give you the charter. You can certainly read it.
So you're unable to quote it to me.
At this point, I can get the charter.
See, see. So you knew you were going to come and testify today, didn't you?
Sure did.
And you knew that the subject of the resident word, so-called, was going to come up. Did you look into the definition?
Yes, I did.
Tell me what you found.
I checked with Mr. Google. I just told you. You have to be a resident.
You checked with Google,
That's right.
and your definition of residence, so far as we've been told, is that you go to a place at the end of the daylight and you walk in there. That's what you told me.
A place where you either pay a mortgage, your home is paid for, or you pay rent. That is a resident. You don't live with someone. I want to explain one thing too. I am to the chair. I'm not going to sit here and listen to the abuse of this attorney, what he pulled on Mr. Burns. That's why I'm not here as a concerned resident. I'm here to follow the rules, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. I do not appreciate a paid attorney sitting here.
Hopefully I'm paid. That would be why I would show up, sir, but you go right ahead with your
No, you go right ahead with your questions.
move to strike. It's neither material, it's irrelevant and immaterial, as Perry Mason would say.
Move to strike.
There's nothing, you can't move to strike. You can say it, but it doesn't mean
Your
anything.
own cross-examination questions are irrelevant? What is happening right now? Mr. Goldberg,
Yes,
did you just say that your own cross-examination questions are not, you're the one asking the questions and now you're saying it's not relevant?
no, I did not say that. I said, I objected to what he said as being relevant. I've asked him what his definition of residence is, and he's
What is the relevance of Mr. Moreau's definition of residence? When
Because
we have
he's
a state statute that says, covers these topics.
and there are Supreme Court cases, both the United States Supreme Court and the Rhode Island Supreme Court, that address in detail, to distraction, the definition of residence and what it means.
So why is
And
Mr.
excuse
Moreau's
me,
opinion relevant?
And I am seeking to demonstrate that in his conclusion that Mr. Bilhurst is not a resident to be a qualified elector and voter is erroneous. And that if he understood what he was saying, he probably would not say it. And that's what I wish to demonstrate. I'll ask another question.
Section 1231 says a resident actually living in the town. Not sure if you've read that, Mr. Goldberg.
Please read that to me.
No person shall be appointed to any board, commission, or committee of the town unless he or she is a qualified elector of the town and a resident actually living in the town, except as otherwise provided by state law and by this charter. And if any appointed member of any board, commission, or committee ceases to meet such qualifications, the person held shall become vacant. That clearly states the resident.
But it doesn't say what resident means. So I'll ask another question, sir. Are you familiar with anybody in town having a total loss by fire to their home such they couldn't reside there?
I do not know of anyone personally now.
Have you ever heard of that?
Yes, I have.
Well, let's assume that such a thing took place and those people had to move out because they couldn't live there anymore. Would they be disqualified as qualified electors and voter in accordance with your testimony that you say is the truth?
I'm not sure, because if I had a fire in my home, I would put a mobile home and I would live in that mobile home.
He's not asking.
And that's
any
what you
facts.
feel you would have to do to satisfy residency. Otherwise,
He's asking
you'd be
legal questions.
disenfranchised.
I would still be a resident of my home.
Questions and not facts.
I'm going to interrupt right here. You're not asking questions for fact. You're asking legal questions.
I'm entitled to.
Well, this resident is here to answer questions on Scott Billhurst. I think he was doing a very good job. I think that what you're trying to do is they found the resident. This is what our charter says. I'm going to strike what you're doing now. If you have questions pertaining to what he has said, please state them.
I'm assuming by that you have not prejudged the case on a particular definition of residence.
I
Mr.
haven't.
Goldberg, we have a statute titled Residence for Voting Purposes, and I don't think that you having a legal argument with Joe Moreau is helpful.
Do you have any evidence to offer as to whether or not Mr. Billhurst, the voter, intends to reside in the town and jurisdiction of Hopkinton?
I'm not good enough to predict the future. I'm sorry.
No further questions.
Thank you.
Um, later.
I don't know that we need to get to that, but this is what Mr. Goldberg. This is the statute, right? Residence for voting purposes.
Next witness, please.
Good morning. Carolyn Light, 43 Forest Glen, Hope Valley. I'll cover some bases for you here. I've lived in this community 18 plus years. Might not be picked up.
It's kind of down here now.
Oh, wow. Supplies. I feel like this is the press cameras.
Very adaptable. Yeah,
All right.
continue. Thank you, Caroline.
Oh, Ms. Light, do you have any like physical evidence documents to present, or is it just testimony?
It's testimony referencing some statute ordinances.
Okay.
No physical documents, sorry. I actually did submit a letter to the Board of Canvases. Unfortunately, it was within the 30-day window before an election in that letter, and this should be on the record. Okay. And in that letter, I referenced the fact that he should be disqualified as a candidate because he no longer resides in the town. And because of the legal requirements, the 30-day window, et cetera, you were unable to act on it. But thank you for receiving it and actually entertaining the thought. Okay. Back to the who am I? I reside in Hopkinton, 43 Forest Glen Drive. I too, like Mr. Moreau, decided that I had an opportunity to give back to the community that people like Mr. Hurst were representing. I became a member, an appointed member by the council that Mr. Hurst sat on to be a planning board member. And I enjoyed 5 years in that role. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people that leads by example with integrity and ethics. And I resigned my position when I realized that the co-members of the board weren't reading the information that our applicants were submitting, and it was resulting in questionable votes and decisions. Here I am giving back to my town in this minuscule role, speaking for my neighbors and taxpayers education, etc. Okay? If you allow me to step away from my phone, I need to get my phone to read thank you very much.
If the witness is going to refer to anything in writing other than viva voce testimony, I'm entitled to see, at least at some point, what she's read or using to refresh her recollection or testimony.
Okay. So noted.
So noted. Okay,
What is it that we have there, Ms. Light?
I'm trying to get there. Okay, so we all are very familiar with what our voter requirements are. You need to reside in the town, proof of identification. I would suggest that if I could have it my way, I would ask that the Charter Commission redefine the requirements for voter registration and make them the equivalent of the requirements that a parent needs to provide to enter their children into our school system, which me as a taxpayer supports, okay? Those requirements should be providing utility, providing proof of residence, providing documentation. A piece of mail is proof of residence. A utility is a proof of residence. I'm not going to go on with that anymore. I'm going to ask that Mr. Hurst lead by example, follow our ordinances. He is currently and has not been a resident of Hopkinton for 8 months. Illegally, he voted and ran for a position in this town. And the voters decided that they weren't going to tolerate that activity. He was not elected. He should not have run. He should not have voted, and he should not vote tomorrow.
Objection. This is political vitriol. It's not evidence as to whether or not he's a qualified elected voter. In fact, I point out from some of the expressions of board members that it's not whether you like him or would like to be rid of him. It's a question of his intention, and if there is any interruption or question of his residence, whether it was a result of intention or whether it was something that was forced by circumstances not within his control. Therefore, I move to strike that. It's not material to the question before the board.
I can't rule on the motion, but I would suggest that you can ask Ms. Light to stick to the facts having to do with his residence, his intention. I agree, those are the issues that are relevant.
I agree with you.
Okay, so yeah, Mr. Hurst's house was condemned. That's a fact. It was sold. That's a fact. It was sold again on March 31st. Our tax rolls, our property tax rolls
Objection.
are evident.
No foundation for any of this. These are all conclusory statements. I saw, I participated, I did. They're not firsthand knowledge.
Okay, should we submit the property tax records in?
I'd like a ruling on my motion to strike.
I didn't hear the question. I'm sorry.
Okay, I would say that I would like us to enter the property tax records into evidence to prove that Mr. Hurst is no longer associated with 20 Maple Court, has not been since his property was condemned as unfit to live in.
I think that is done with the selling of his property. When you sell a property, tax records and everything have to be up to date.
Okay, well, we're asking for evidence that that is so the case. And the only way to provide that evidence from my perspective is to provide property tax records of the sales in the current ownership.
I don't know. I think that they're on the when the buyer bought the house.
Yeah,
All right. everything is done at that time.
Absolutely. So as of March 31st, the second owner is in possession of the property.
Um,
And it's not Mr. Hurst. Okay, so back to leading by example. Mr. Hurst, as a voter, should be required to follow the same rules that everybody else in the community are required to follow. In a recent election, the hearsay would be that we had an out-of-state Connecticut resident that wanted to run for the town council. And he withdrew because he was following the letter of the law here in Hopkinton.
It's not, I object.
Okay,
Germain,
I,
it's not material what Mr. Hurst should or should not do, or what the witness's legal conclusion is to what is appropriate and not appropriate, is not germane to this question. Is he entitled to vote in Hopkinton? That's it. And if she doesn't have firsthand knowledge, she shouldn't be allowed to testify to it. Now, if the board is going to supplement this testimony sua sponte, I object to that. But I certainly, in the first instance, object to this political diatribe. It's not germane. It's not his popularity or electability that is in question. I object. Pray the board's ruling.
Do you want to do any more?
I would ask her to like stick to the facts and stick.
Yeah. Let's stick to the facts. And
Okay.
what is relevant.
yes, absolutely.
Um,
Okay, if,
I have a motion to strike pending. Is it denied?
will you,
I move to strike that irrelevant testimony, and I've described
all
it.
of it, it wasn't irrelevant.
It's difficult in the entire blend of what she has to say, the vitriol and the personal attacks on Mr. Bilhurst from something that might be relevant. She said, she claims the property is sold. She claims it's off the
We've
road.
already established that the property has been sold.
When and why should she be able to come forward with repetitive evidence? If you've accepted, in court, we would say you've made a finding that the property has been sold. I would so stipulate it has been sold. But that doesn't make any of this witness's irrelevancies germane.
Well, she didn't realize that that was going to come up before she came. I mean, I'm going to leave her testimony intact.
You're
Is that
denying
your
my
finding?
motion. My motion to
Yeah.
strike is denied, so the record
Motion
is
to-
clear.
Yes, it is.
my apologies to the board and to this attorney. If it appeared that I was making a political statement, I apologize. It certainly was not my intention. My only intention is to suggest that every voter in the town of Hopkinton be required to submit the same. You gonna object? And,
You'll hear me when I do, madam.
oh, thanks. I like that. That feels like a compliment. I would suggest that Mr. Hurst submit the same requirements I and every other resident in the town of Hopkinton is required to vote. I know his potential candidacy is not on the table, so we can discuss that at some point when it is. But at this point, that is what I'm rooting for. Okay, and I'm speaking,
It's too bad. Objection. Move to strike. Irrelevant. Again, what Mr. Bilhurst ought to do, what legislation the town ought to have, and on and on and on. Irrelevant.
Objection overruled. What she's saying is relevant.
Very well.
You know, I'd like to understand why a statement about voter identification requirements is not applicable to this particular hearing. If he could please define that for me, because I'm not a lawyer and I don't play one on TV.
You would like his objection qualified by him?
No, I would like him to define what the voter requirements are and how they are not applicable to this hearing. That's what because if I just don't, I'm not an educated attorney and I don't have any credentials and I hope yours are current. Did we check that? I would like him to explain why that testimony is not applicable. I would need to know it for myself, for the board, and for future reference.
You have any,
I could help here, but what's relevant is his residence, his intention to return, and things. Is where does he live? That's what's relevant. Is he qualified to vote on Hopkinton or not? And that is a question of his residence, and it's also Mr. Goldberg is correct that the statute does say that his intention is relevant. So, where does he live? Where has he been living? What is his intent? Those are issues that are relevant.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure I have anything else to offer that wouldn't be objected to, and I do not want to frustrate Mr. Hurst's attorney anymore. He seems like he's worked really hard for this position, so I would offer him the opportunity to question me.
You've testified at length about what your feelings are about residency in terms of it qualifying someone to participate in governance by voting in this jurisdiction. Could you please tell me what your operative definition of residency is?
My operative definition of residency mirrors what Merriam-Webster, Collins, etc., Oxford. It's the place where one resides.
What does it mean to you to reside somewhere?
And okay, the definition also includes if you live in a house, rent a house, live in a hotel, etc., just so that we're all clear. He's living at a hotel. That is his current residence. I'm sorry.
Move to strike that part. It's not. It is hearsay, not firsthand knowledge.
It is
No
firsthand knowledge.
foundation.
I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, would it be helpful if I read from the state statute how we define residence for voting purposes, and then we can stop maybe having this back and forth legal argument over residence?
Great idea.
Rhode Island General Law 17-1-3.1, titled Residence for Voting Purposes, subsection A person's residence for voting purposes is his or her fixed and established domicile. The determinant of one's domicile is that person's factual physical presence in the voting district on a regular basis, incorporating an intention to reside for an indefinite period. This domicile is the place to which, upon temporary absence, he or she has the intention of returning. Once acquired, this domicile continues until another domicile is established. A person can have only one domicile, and the domicile shall not be considered lost solely by reason of absence for any of the following reasons. And it lists 4 reasons. The first of those is employment or military service out of state. The other is confinement in a correctional facility. The other is being a patient in a hospital or a nursing home or a similar facility. And the fourth is attendance as a student at an academic institution. So that is what the state of Rhode Island General Assembly has told us is the definition of residence for voting purposes.
I concur.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not done. Do you
I'm
have
just
any
being polite.
evidence to offer that Mr. Bill Hurst has participated politically in any other jurisdiction than Hopkinton in the last 2 years?
Could you please repeat that?
Could I have that read back, please?
Do you have any evidence to offer that Mr. Bill Hurst did politically in any other jurisdiction?
No, not my concern either. Object. I agree.
So you weren't concerned about that?
I am not concerned if Mr. Hurst participates in any political activities outside of the community of Hopkinton or the state of Rhode Island. As a resident of Hopkinton, I believe that I have the legal right to participate in political activities in Hopkinton and in the state of Rhode Island. That's my answer.
Do you have any evidence of his intention to reside in Hopkinton?
No, I don't. That's all hearsay.
Have you heard something about his intention to reside in Hopkinton?
Well, let's say the word on the street is the only evidence I can offer. We all know that Scott holds Hopkinton near and dear to his heart. This is where he spent his entire life with his family here. Scott Bill Hurst is one of the best historians this community has ever had, and that I miss. You object? I like him.
So you might like a lot of things.
I do. I like
But I'm
cheesecake
not
too.
here to provide them for you. You don't have any evidence to refute that he wishes to reside in Hopkinton.
No, not at all.
No more questions.
Thank you.
One more comment?
Objection, no question pending.
Thanks. Thank you very much for hearing me.
Good luck, Scott. We'll go from here.
Do the complainants have any more witnesses or?
Do the complainants have any more witnesses?
Madam Chair, I just have one thing to add.
Well, Mike, you're the witness.
You're the
Oh, I am. Okay, all right. Thank you, Chair, Attorney. You've seen everything that's
Has he
been,
been sworn?
yes.
Yes.
Still under oath. You've seen all the evidence, both sides, the attorney, you guys have seen it. I think in the statement, Scott Bill Hurst made a statement that his license says 20 Maple Court. Rhode Island general law states 10 days after you move or sell your residence, you're required to do within 10 days. If pretty sure we're outside that number, if his license still says 20 Maple Court.
Move to strike. It's argument, not testimony.
That's
It's
state law.
argument to attempt to call some section of the law to the board's attention. There's a way to do that, and this isn't it. As your counsel will tell you. Move to strike.
I don't know about, I don't know this law about, does it mean this is a registry of motor vehicles law?
Yes,
I'm not familiar with it myself.
I can give you the statute or the state law number. It is our Rhode Island General Law 31-10-32, 10 days.
Objection.
Can I just ask you what you're objecting to?
It's not firsthand knowledge. It's political argument, but it's legal argument. It's not for testimony under oath. It's just like the same stuff about Scott ought to this, or this is how we ought to run the polling station. This is not germane to any fact in controversy.
Mike, what was that reference again?
31, hold on,
The,
31-10-32, Rhode Island Journal Law.
the claimant is reading into the record state statute. As Board of Canvassers members, we accept people's licenses as proof of identification of their residence. This is very relevant, sir.
Is that your ruling? Because I'm not going to engage in a diatribe with you
This is
about
not a
it. It either
diatribe.
is or it isn't.
It's
And
his
this,
license.
excuse me, and this either is or isn't the manner in which you can introduce proof of the general laws, which, again, your counsel will tell you.
We are legally obligated to be sure that the proof of identification is correct. According to state law, if we are given a license that says 20 Maple Court, it is not correct, sir.
Have you been given such a license?
No, but obviously when we ask for it, when he shows up to vote, we are registering that this is the identification that any voter in this township has
And
to
that-
do.
And that is what we refer to at law as unright, because the situation hasn't arisen. He's not here to vote. He's here because they've challenged him.
We are just to.
Do as you please.
Yes.
You're the board,
Yes,
but the State Board of Elections will consider this when they see the record.
we are not contesting his right to vote, sir. We want him to be able to vote, but he is not allowed to vote in our township according to our laws anymore. We would
that
hope
your-
he would
Is
establish
that your
residency.
conclusion? Because if that's your conclusion, I move to recuse. You've prejudged the case without hearing the evidence.
Our complainants have each spoken to the fact that the requirements that they have to satisfy to be voters in the state apply equally to everyone, including Mr. Scott Bill Hurst. your
They are
client.
wrong, respectfully.
This board has been very fair, and we continue to be fair to Mr. Hurst. When we got the first complaint, we just overlooked it and didn't say a word because we felt as though he had the right to vote. We want him to vote.
Yes.
And this is what we are trying to establish today.
And excuse me, I may respond to that. And when you got the second complaint, you had to get rid of it because it was done wrong. And now we're at the third complaint.
I will speak to the second complaint. We asked, this board sent a letter to the Board of Elections and asked if they had any more information for us because we were going to go to a meeting. Am I correct? And what we got back was there is no anything else that you need to have. And then we got your letter. And for somehow, you had a letter that said they had to have an affidavit. So we postponed a meeting, made another meeting, and the respondents did, the complainants did fill out the correct form and submit it. That's the way it was done. You got the correct form. We did not. If that's all.
No, I just wanted to see if the attorney had any questions for me.
Oh, I'm going to have questions. If Mr. Bill Hurst doesn't reside in Hopkinton, where do you assert that he does reside?
According to his statement, he resides in a motel in Groton, Connecticut, sir.
That's your testimony under oath?
Yes.
See? And what address is on his license presently?
According to the information he provided the Board of Canvassers, It is 20 Maple Court.
And no more questions.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Council Board. Thank you.
I would say now would be the time if the board has any questions for any of the complainants or their witnesses. And then we would move on to the respondents' presentation of their case. Sure.
The things you wanted. Do we have a picture of his license?
I'd like a break. Now been an hour and a half.
How long do you want to take a break?
We'll take a 5-minute break. Is that
10, please.
we'll take a 10-minute break.
Okay.
It's amazing when you go to
Well, they're not here.
Well, they might not appear. Some of them told me that he might not appear, but had I not listened to them, there would be argument as to why I had them testify without proper notice.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Mr. Hurst? Are you going to,
Excuse me, I thought this was the opportunity for the board to ask questions of the witnesses. I think that's what counsel just said.
well, oh, I'm sorry. The board has decided there'll be nothing of what we have on now.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Are we back on the record?
Yes,
I
we
hope
are.
we are.
Yeah, all right,
Sorry.
all right, we're going
Our
to,
break is over.
break is over. We're supposed to ask questions. Does anybody?
Right,
Like,
but
we've got
first
to-
you should decide if you have questions for the complainants or their
For the
witnesses.
I hope he is. Is he not here?
All right,
I note that one of my witnesses who was here is not here, but I see no reason not to go forward with the portion where you talked about asking questions of the witnesses who have already testified.
all right. I don't believe there's any questions of the witnesses that have already testified from the board, correct? Okay. So we will move on to the respondents is Mr. Hurst.
You don't respond.
I've got to swear the,
You want to swear in my proposed witnesses?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, I gotta try this. Raise your right hand.
Raise your right hand, please, Mr. Hurst. Do you swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Have a seat. Mr. Chappell. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Could you please ask him to state his name?
State your name.
Lance Chappell.
Thank you.
Mr. Pickover.
Objection, Mr. Chair. I do not believe he was listed on the list of witnesses that I received.
Oh, no, he was. It went on to the second page.
Oh, I do see it now.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can remain up there. I'll begin with you.
Okay.
What is your occupation, sir?
I'm a real estate broker.
Where do you primarily practice, if there is such a place?
Oh, Southern Rhode Island, Hopkinton, Wesley, Richmond,
Where do you live?
Charlestown. I live at 15 Maple Court.
Are you acquainted with the voter in this case?
The voter, Scott Bill Hurst.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived across the street from him for 20-something years. I was born across the street from him in 1965. So, yeah, I'm familiar with him, yes.
And during much of that time, did he reside across the street?
He has for the last 20 years that I've lived at 15 Maple Court, yes.
Did there come a time when he was forced to leave that place?
I believe he was.
Recall when that was?
Sometime in late 2024, maybe?
Did he leave of his own volition, or is there some action of the town that you're aware of that compelled him to leave?
Yeah, I believe that there were sanctions through the town pending that made his house uninhabitable so that he, could not reside there.
Are you aware of town action formally taken against him for that?
I am not. I know there was pending, but I don't know what transpired.
Did you see signs on the?
Oh, yes,
premises?
yes, there were signs.
Do you recall the signs?
Yes.
Tell us what they said.
They say he couldn't occupy it due to safety and health concerns, I believe.
So
It was condemned.
So far as you know, did Mr. Billhurst comply with that?
Yes, he did not go in the house. The house was boarded, as I remember, because I was held the first sale and we had to arrange through the town to, let people in, and they had to sign a waiver so that the town and Mr. Hurst was all protected if they wanted to view the inside. And truly, there was only one, I believe, that actually did go inside. Anybody who was on the property also signed a waiver that, they would hold harmless Scott Billhurst.
And it was then impossible, at least as far as you know, for Mr. Billhurst to sleep there. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe it would be.
And where, do you know where he went?
I know he was in Wakefield for a little while, and that's about all I know where he was.
Did he express to you his desire for you to use all your efforts to find him another place to be in Hopkinton?
Yes, and it was Hopkinton only.
Were you successful in that?
I was not.
Did he express that desire to you more than once?
Yes,
Did you believe him?
yes.
Have you spoken with him lately?
Yes, I speak to him maybe every other week, or he emails me at times. Yes,
Has he expressed any desire to live anywhere other than Hopkinton?
he has not.
I don't have any other questions.
You guys have any questions for me? Be glad to answer.
Whoa.
Okay.
Do the complainants have any questions?
The record chair, so make sure that everybody knows this real estate. Close on the house.
I stated.
There's no question pending, sir.
The house was sold to somebody else, so.
Mike, could you establish that by asking him questions? Like you have a right to cross-examine him, just like Mr. Goldberg had a right to cross-examine you.
I'd like to step up to the mic just so I can be heard, make sure that everything's on the record here. So with your intent, my first question would be, in the years coming to the notification on the house, have you noticed, was there any issues of habitable humanity of the house?
I want to answer your question, but I'm not quite sure what you're asking me.
So your statement was that the town created sanctions to remove Scott from the house, correct?
I believe that to be correct.
Okay. Your term of living across from him of 20 Maple Court, was there any reasons for the town to move forward
Move forward in what?
in condemning the house?
I say I don't know, because I don't know what the regulations are.
You don't know, you didn't live across the street?
Objection, interrupted the witness's answer.
I guess what I'm saying is, I do live across the street, but I'm not sure what the regulations of the town would be to condemn it, make it uninhabitable. Okay, so I don't have that information, but they did condemn it, yes.
Next question. The date you sold this house,
It was in the January, I believe. It's on the tax record, whatever day that says. It was in January of 2025.
So the date on the tax record provided that date you sold his house,
Correct?
provided that he was no longer a resident at 20 Maple Court.
Objection to that question.
You sold the house.
I don't know what the definition of
There's
residency
an objection
is.
pending.
That has already been put forward.
What are you objecting to? The date he sold the house?
No, he's added a trail on to what that meant for his residency. It was actually a compound question. Objection. That's why compound questions are objectionable.
Would you state the question again, please?
So the question is, when you sell a house as a realtor, it crosses hands to another party and makes the previous party not a resident of
That's-
that property.
Objection. That's a compound question. It's two questions.
No, that was one question.
Answer the question, if you can.
My answer to that question would be, I don't completely understand his question, but I have had situations where somebody has sold a house and the person who owned it before still resided in the house. But that's what he's trying to go down this really road of, I don't know. So it needs to be a direct question for me.
No more further questions.
Thank you.
No further questions
Thank you.
based on those questions.
Thank you.
Lance Chappell.
Yes, sir.
You're a friend of Mr. Bill Hurst?
Yes,
Are you a resident of Hopkins?
yes.
Of Hopkinton? Are you a resident?
Am I? I'm
Yes.
a little hard of hearing. No, I'm sorry.
Are you planning to become a resident of Hopkinton?
No.
Okay. Are you familiar with when Mr. Bill Hurst was excluded from his residence? Are you able to hear me, Mr. Chappell?
I'm working on it.
All right. Are you familiar with when Mr. Bill Hurst was excluded from his house in Hopkinton?
Yes,
And when that occurred, did he have someplace else to go?
no,
Did there come a time when he stayed sometime with you?
yes,
He's a friend of yours, isn't he?
yes.
Have you seen him reside at any other place or stay overnight at any other place?
Since he left me, he has been staying at different hotels, and he was in a homeless shelter.
Were any of those places, would you characterize as places for him to be a resident?
Good? Yes.
Was he going to live there?
No,
Did he ever express to you where he wanted to live?
in this town.
You mean Hopkinton?
Yes,
Did he ever express otherwise?
no.
Is he a very close friend of yours?
Over a period of 20 years.
Belong to fraternal organizations?
Yes,
You familiar that he voted in any other town or jurisdiction other than Hopkinton that you know of?
I wouldn't have knowledge of that. I would say no. He's honorable. He wouldn't do it.
No further questions.
Do they have any questions?
Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chappell.
Entirely welcome.
I guess. No.
Mr. Bill Hurst. Where did you sleep last night?
Connell Lodge, 101 London Avenue, Cranston, Rhode Island.
Planning to become a qualified elector and voter in Cranston?
Not at all,
Why did you have to sleep there?
because I'm homeless.
What do you intend to be your residence?
Hopkins and Rhode Island.
What have you done to accomplish your restoration to a place to sleep in Hopkinton?
At the present time, I'm trying to secure a rental property at 15 Maple Street, Hope Valley, Rhode Island. And I have to do some steps to secure that. And I've been working with Preston Woodward. He's a realtor. Doing that. In addition to that, I've sent in an application to Saugatucket Springs over here, and also two at Canachet, one at Canachet Cliffs 1 and 2, but one of them, they tell me is incomplete, so I got to work on that, and the others might be incomplete, but I am working on that issue. These things aren't easy, and have to deal with mental health issues. And so I'm under a lot of pressure and things of that nature.
Do you want to be a voter in another community?
Absolutely not.
Do you plan to vote in another election?
I expect to be a candidate in another election in this town, God willing.
Is there anything that you think of that you could do to, anything more that you could think of what to do that's within your ability to find a place to sleep in Hopkinton?
Also, I have to consider rent. Just in January of this year, when I sold my house, I got some income. You usually can't stay at a place for free. So my financial situation has to be based on January of this year is when I had money. I had some money before that, but logically, you can't do anything without the do-re-mi.
So what are you trying to do?
What I'm trying to do right now is hopefully secure 15 Maple Court. I've been working with a realtor. It hasn't been an easy process. They want references, also my financial situation. So I'm working on that. That's my #1 priority right now.
Do you have a forwarding service for your mail?
Yes, I opened
And what is it?
I opened a box at PO Box 941 Ashland, Rhode Island, 02804/0009.
So that you can receive the mail that is presently directed to 20 Maple Court.
Yes.
When you filed applications to participate in the elective process in this town, did you have any intention of voting or being anywhere else?
Absolutely not.
I don't have any further questions.
Respondent. The complainants, do you have any questions?
Yes. I'd like to clarify one question for you. Your statement, response to Mr. Goldberg's question was 15 Maple Court. Was your response?
Okay, that was a mistake. It's 20 Maple Court that I resided at. So I stand corrected on that.
I think you said that in the first place.
15 Maple Court is his realtor's address. Is the only reason for the question. The only other question, second question I have is, do you plan on voting tomorrow?
Yes.
Thank you.
No questions based on. You're looking to rent 15 Maple Street, not Maple Court, Scott,
Yes.
okay? So not my residence. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I apologize for the distraction. I got 101 things going on in my mind and I'm trying to keep cool.
pending.
Okay.
My client.
I think that the board, this is the time, excuse me. Okay.
Madam Chair, he's already stated that the house he lives in, 20 Maple Court, has been sold. He's already stated that he plans on voting in tomorrow's election for the school budget.
Objection. This is argument.
He
It's
is not a
testimony.
resident of
Objection.
Hopkinton. How can you make a statement that you don't live in the town, but you're going to vote in the town? That's illegal. The board should
This
take,
is
the board should take
objection.
action on
is
this today.
Argument. There's no question been ruled upon.
We haven't ruled. This board hasn't ruled. We've had here, meetings and meetings and meetings, and this is the hearing. He's still on the voter list. We've checked the gone over the voter list, which we have to do. And he is still on. We have not taken him off. The board is the only, we can take him off after a decision has been made. I'm sure that they're going to go upstate with it. And
Only if we lose, excuse me.
only if you lose. Or you wouldn't take it all out otherwise. I think that the board has some questions, Mr. Hurst. First of all, I think in one of the response that you did give us, you stayed at 20 Maple Court from the 9th to the 23rd of August. Am I correct?
Yeah, after the posting was put on, I did stay there a short while. I called to talk to the chief. And I had talked to, I know the building inspector, as I recall, about how long I could stay there before I find other places. And I know the chief, I remember, I'm trying to do this from memory, so I might be off. I think the chief said he had to check on it. And I didn't think that the building inspector was going to press about me leaving the premises right immediately. And I'm doing all this from memory, but I did secure another place. It's not easy finding housing in Hopkinton and also locating somebody without funds.
Did you read the building inspector's, the building inspector? Right?
If I would, you should let Mr. Goldberg see this.
Okay.
If it's going to be evidence. And it should be
This is
marked
going to
as
be
well.
evident, put into evidence, and we're going to read it into the files. That's why I asked the question.
Just the page that I'm being shown.
That's right.
Solely this page.
Yeah.
Am I to show this to the witness?
Well, we're going to read it. He has, I'm sure that he was there at the time.
Objection.
All right, well then show it to him. Show it to him. It's going to be read into the files.
Don't turn the page.
Okay.
You want to read it? Please, thank you.
I think the document should be identified for.
Okay. You can identify it as who it was from. And then it was put in, what date it was put in. And that was on the first one, the October 1st.
So I should start.
Yeah, we're up.
Okay, just for the purposes of clarification, at a special council meeting on September the 6th of 2024, the council members with Hearst recused approved a motion made by the town councilor Sharon Davis to retain a special counsel, the Wakefield attorney Martha Day, to represent the building and zoning department. Hopkinton Town Attorney Stephen Spoyle explained the need for special counsel in Hearst's case. Quote, "The reason that you are appointing special counsel is because I would obviously have a conflict given the fact that Mr. Hearst is a councilman and I am appointed to my position by the council," he said. And the special council meeting continues with the notes taken. We have provided in-depth coverage of this meeting because of the significance of the conversation that took place. And that is read into the record too, submitted for record. Zoning official Anthony Santilli briefed the council members on the situation with Mr. Hearst's house at 20 Maple Court, which has been the source of numerous complaints by neighbors regarding its deteriorating exterior, and it appeared that the interior was even worse. Quote, "We took him to court once before for debris surrounding the property. He cleaned it up. Then we had a situation where the Hopkinton police entered the property, bringing him back a personal belonging that he left somewhere," Santilli said. "The door was open. The police went in. They had a body cam. The place is disgusting, unsanitary, uninhabitable for any human occupancy," end quote. Santilli met with the town councilor, president Michael Geary, the town manager, Brian Russo, and the police chief, Mark Carrier, and together they drafted a letter dated August 9th, stating that the town had condemned the property and sent it to Hearst by certified mail. A notice stating that the property was condemned and unsafe to enter was affixed to the outside of the house. Quote, "He agreed to leave and stay with a friend," Santilli said. "At this point, we had a meeting with Scott Bill Hearst. He said he was going to try to clean the building out. He got a dumpster on the property." The letter to Hearst was mailed August 9th. However, after Hearst agreed to work with town officials, nothing was done. There had been very limited progress on the property, Santilli told the council. "Under the code, I can board the dwelling, and I don't know what I'm going to do at this point. I want to see if there's any progress over the next few days." Shall we stop there for what
I
we're
think that's enough.
including? Just that the legal rendering of the situation is in a matter of record, registered with the town.
Thank you. All right, and you're stating that you stayed on the property from the 13th to the 23rd. Now, the 9th is when it was boarded up.
It wasn't boarded, I don't believe it was boarded up on the 9th because I stayed there a short while and then it was boarded up. Trying to think, this is,
This was put in as one of the exhibits.
I don't know the date of boarding up.
It was
I-
the 9th.
I don't think it was-
Immediately, it says, this structure is declared unsafe for human occupancy or use. It is unlawful for any person to use or occupy this building after, and it says immediately. The 9th of August, 2024, and that was already put into the records.
I talked to the bill.
no question.
Okay,
That was that. Okay, I'm asking you the question. From the 9th to the 23rd, where did you stay?
I stayed at 20 Maple Court for a while, and I had talked to the building inspector about staying there, and I did that, and then I had to sort out where I was gonna go.
You stayed in the house
Yes,
from the 9th to the 23rd?
possibly, I'm not sure the dates.
Well, you stated in your response to us that you stayed from the, till the 23rd, to the 23rd of August. What I'm saying to you, and we didn't even go through all of this, and one of the things that they said, that the chief of police said, that they wouldn't even go into the house. The building inspector, the chief of police and Santilli wouldn't go into, or let their people go into the house without a respirator. Is it correct? And you went into the house.
Definitely.
There's no question pending.
That's
So,
the
did you go
question.
into the house?
I wanted to know where he stayed from the 9th to the 23rd of August. Did you stay in the house?
Yes, I don't know the exact date.
So, well, that's what you put in your response to us. That was one of the questions we had. So you defied the laws of the town.
I had thought, okay, sorry.
I'm asked,
You may ask him, but he's got a Fifth Amendment privilege if you're accusing him of a crime. He's got an absolute right not to answer.
I can ask the question.
Go
If
ahead,
he doesn't want to answer the question, we'll put it on the record.
let's do so.
Okay. I'm asking you, did you stay in the house from the 9th to the 23rd of August?
I,
Wait a minute, at the end of the question,
That's one question.
you may answer.
reserve my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution.
That's the question.
Yes, I stayed, and I apologize because I want to please my lawyer too. I stayed in the house, yes. I did talk to the chief, and I said about staying in the house, and he said he would have to check the rules. I remember the conversation. What?
Did she ask that?
No.
All right. Let me see where I'm going now. I want to be fair, Mr. Hurst. I'm going to tell you, the three of us have pondered over this. Because we wanted you to have your rights to vote and to run in the election. I want you to know that. And we've tried to be fair. But with complaints, you have to answer them. All right, I will go on to something else. After that, you stayed at, with a friend, Lance Chappelle,
Yes,
okay? And that was in South Kingston.
yes,
After that, the Welcome Center from 10:25 to 2:11.
yes, I got that date from the executive director.
Okay. And, all right, and then you had to move. After that, where did you stay?
Stayed at Roadway Inn in Groton, Connecticut, and I'm staying at Connell Lodge right now, at least for the next 2 days at 101 London Avenue, Cranston. And I stayed with my cousin for a few days in Ledger, Connecticut. So I'm dealing with homelessness, so I virtually have to, I don't want to exasperate my lawyer, so.
All right. In other words, you have not resided in the town of Hopkinton since the 23rd of August. That is the question. Objection on what rule?
It's an undefined legal term.
Your objection is overruled.
Very well.
Am I correct?
Yep, we read it into the record, what the residence
All right.
definition is.
So you've been out of Hopkinton since the 23rd of August. You're overruled. Please answer.
It's another question.
Okay.
I have to pose these objections to the record.
That's
for the
okay.
lecture.
You can pose them.
Okay, all right. I'm
Pose them.
overruled. Next
You're
question.
overruled. Please answer the question.
Please state it. Restate it.
Could you restate the question, please?
So you've been residing outside of Hopkinton since the 23rd of August.
I have not slept in Hopkinton for months, but I have not relinquished my rights or my voter registration or anything else, and I have every intention of returning to Hopkinton. And I have voted in no other place.
Do a thing on that one. I mean, you know what the rights are and what the law is, correct? About living outside.
I'm a political junkie, and the law is very simple. You have the intent to return. and you don't-
chair? Let me answer the question, please.
You state
That, you're doing.
you state your question, please.
I want this. All right. Let me see what's the date on this. In January, did you run for the district committee?
I ran for numerous Republican committees, and I was elected a delegate by the Hopkins Republican Town Committee in January 2025. Represent the Hopkins Republicans on the Rhode Island Republican State Senate.
That was in January 27th of these papers were filed.
Well,
That
Whatever
is
date
for
on that paper.
for Representative District 38.
I'm on that committee. I'm on the Senatorial District Committee, District 34. I'm on the Hopkins Republican Town Committee, which elected me in January of this year as one of the two delegates, regular delegates, because the chairman's automatically a delegate of the Rhode Island Republican State Central Committee, an action done by other Hopkins Republicans.
Okay, but you've done all of these things realizing that you were not actually, you're living out of the town. You're not living in the town of Hopkinton.
Qualified elector of the town of Hopkins by your own
Excuse
initiative.
me, objection, compound question. And
I will repeat the question. I will repeat the question for you. you got on all of the committees, realizing that you were not living in a residence in the town of Hopkins.
I sold that residence was sold in January, so it depends upon when the meeting was. But
You weren't living in the residence.
I own the property until January of this year. And more importantly, to be on a committee, you're gonna have to own property in the town of Hopkins to be a qualified elector.
To vote in the town, from the town of Hopkinton, you have to be a registered voter and live in the residence. You just can't own property and vote.
Is that a question?
You have stated, I'll put this another way. You have stated that you moved out of the town on August 23rd, and you haven't lived inside the town of Hopkinton since the 23rd of August. Am I correct?
I have not changed my legal residence. When you're homeless, you go wherever.
That you're not answering the question for me. You stated, and it's on the record, that you did not live in the town of Hopkinton since the 23rd of August.
You do not lose your residency by homelessness. And I didn't change my voter registration.
That's why we have this hearing today, Mr. Hurst. No, I'm saying this is why we have the hearing today.
Well, I think we all know that. Unless you're
Well-
arguing with Mr. Hurst.
Maybe you're arguing with me.
I am. It's my right and it's my duty.
Okay.
I don't want to have to defeat that.
So you went on all of these committees realizing that you were not a resident of the town of Hopkins.
Objection. Third time. Asked and answered. Badgering.
Objection overruled. Please answer the question, Mr. Hurst.
I have not established a residence anywhere else. And I have no intention of changing my residence from the town of
All
Hopkins.
right. All right. You wanna do this?
All right, I just want to read into the record that a home address and a residence
Is this a document
address.
I have seen?
Yes,
Yes, it's state statute.
we sent it to you.
No. Have I seen it here today? Because I don't know what she's reading.
Here.
I haven't seen it.
Happy to show it to
She
you.
could have picked it up
Ballot
anywhere.
application, this is the front end of it. I'm only reading one paragraph. Highlight the paragraph.
Well, I don't see what you're reading here.
This is what it
That's what the other is showing. The other
is. I want to show you what it's from. Yes.
Thank you.
So according to state law in Rhode Island, a ballot application and a certification by voter and certified voting list at a polling place include what the home address of the person is. Quote, "The applicant shall enter the full address of the city/town where he/she resides, including street address, apartment number, and zip code. A post office box cannot be considered a residence. Residents without a permanent address may register to vote from the address of the Board of Canvassers in their city or town, or may provide a location to the Board of Canvassers of their city and town where they are commonly located." So I just want that to be in the record of what the polling laws are in our state. And I wanted to follow that up with the United States Code on Public Health and Welfare for Homelessness, because you use the word that you are homeless, sir. And in general, for the purposes of this act, homeless or homeless individual and homeless person means, number one, an individual or family who lacks a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. Which does describe your situation, does it not, sir? He used the word homeless, sir.
I'll let my lawyer speak.
It's a compound question and it's a question of law.
Yes.
If the question is, do you use the term homeless? You can answer that question.
All right.
Otherwise,
Yes, I am considered homeless.
Thank you, sir.
So in other words, anywhere you work, we are not taking your voter rights away. You could register to vote.
I didn't relinquish my right to
there's no
vote.
question.
Okay.
The question pending is he's contesting his right to vote in
It ends with a
Hopkinton.
question mark. That statement, at least in my opinion, since I've been doing this 50 years, I can probably recognize it.
Sir,
You have
we
a
don't-
Question mark at the end of it.
If you got a
Yeah.
question.
Yes, I did ask him whether he was homeless, and he said, he replied in the affirmative.
I didn't know, did you realize that you could register in any place you were residing from the 23rd of August on?
I had no intention of registering anywhere but Hopkins, Rhode Island. Period.
Which is,
He did not answer the question.
This isn't a peanut gallery session.
Mr. Hurst, would you please answer the question? That isn't answering the question. Did you realize that you could register in any place you lived after the 23rd of August?
Possibly, but election laws vary from, and there's usually a residence required. I have no intention of registering anywhere but Hopkins, Rhode Island, because my goal has been to return to this town after I sold my house, and I didn't relinquish my voting right.
All right, I have another question for you. Why, when you left on the 23rd of August, did you not immediately start applying to different places in the town of Hopkinton so that maybe within 3 months or 4 months, you could live there? Go back into the town, excuse me.
Procrastination on my part and dealing with the emotion of everything I was going through, and these things are easier said than done. And that's it. I mean,
Well, let me see. Why did you not apply to residents in Hopkinton until after our first meeting? I think you applied on the 13th of March. You applied on 2 different places on the 13th of March.
Kenosha Hills? Yes.
Not
Sorry.
Hills, no, please.
Yes.
Yeah. You applied to 2 places, and then you applied for an apartment, I believe.
I applied at Saugatucket Springs.
Yeah.
And Magic Cliffs 1 and 2, and I guess they told me the other day that like application incomplete, but the thing that I seriously pursued is 15 Maple Street. Hope Valley, and I toured the building with Preston Woodward, a Realtor. And there's financial issues that the person that I was working with had. And I have to come up with some references that I've been working on. And also my Washington Trust statement that I can financially afford what they want.
You still haven't answered the question for me. The question was, why did you wait until after our first meeting, when you knew it was going to go further, that you decided that you would start applying for, so it would look good here?
All I know is, I understand the law, I'm not a lawyer, but I've been interested in politics and law since I was a child. As far as I know, this is all based on intent, that I intend to return to Hopkins, which I did.
You haven't returned yet.
But the board did not specify a timeline based on intent. When you're homeless and you don't have money, I didn't have any real money until my property was sold in January of this year. I couldn't seriously entertain doing anything. Plus, housing stock is not easily available in this town. And also, many of the places supposedly in town that cater to elderly population don't have a lot of openings, supposedly. So that's, I don't know if one of them might have, okay? And it's very difficult, you know, it's easy to, these people don't have staff that are present all the time. Some of them are, you gotta wait once a week, and I plan to.
Mr. Hurst, can I just, we've gone on quite a while today. We know what the housing problems are in Hopkinton. I do know that. What I'm asking you is, you didn't even stop looking at anything until March of this year. Your house was sold in January.
I've had applications, but I did procrastinate, and then finally got to it. But I'm also dealing with getting counseling, dealing with mental health issues. So I've done, I think, the best I can with 101 things on my mind.
But you know now that you can apply anywhere for a, to vote. And anywhere you are, you can vote. You've been out of the town for more than 6 months. How long were you at the roadway? Is it the roadway in Groton?
I was there like, I think, 28 days, or pretty close to 28 days.
Okay. What was your reason for leaving there?
They had like a rule, you know, you have to have some time off.
Are you planning on going back there?
No, they had some issues with me, so I'm staying at a Econo Lodge, and they had no issues with me.
Where are you?
What?
Where are you now?
The next couple of days, because I just renewed it yesterday, the Econo Lodge 101, the London Avenue, Cranston. It's not a permanent place of residence.
Where are you going? Where are you going to go in 2 days?
I might renew that or go to another place. I'm trying to secure 15 Maple Street, Hope Valley.
What are the, do you have any idea when? Let me ask you that.
I'd probably talk to Preston Woodward, the Realtor, because he's the one I'm working with. And I got to produce some references, and looks like my financial situation will be addressed in things of that nature. some concerns the woman has in charge of the property.
I'm sorry, she asked you, do you have any idea when?
No,
Can't you
no
answer the
specific.
question?
Hopefully within a month, I would say.
Are there anything else that anybody else wants to ask? I talk about exhausting myself. Oh, yeah. I think I've exhausted myself as far as asking questions. Where you haven't lived in the town, since August 23rd.
Is this a question? Can my witness sit down?
Just a second, please. And you are not, you don't have any other places that you're looking into. Did they give you anything at Cananchek?
And actually, Cliffs 1 and 2, I know both applications were incomplete, so I have to address some of the.
You don't know where you're gonna be on the list?
No, because it was incomplete, so I got.
You're not on the list.
I was up there maybe a week ago and she said, Ken returned it to me. I think it was both of them. Canachet Cliffs 3, which is run differently. It's tough because the woman's only there like once a week or something like that, the woman that runs it. So it's very tough to get a hold of people.
Well, you have to make an appointment. They have an answering service.
A question?
I'm through. That, I'm through with my, and I want you to know, when you did live in Groton, it's the same thing there, it's like homes. And you can, and you can, apply for a vote, to vote in the state of Connecticut.
I'm a Rhode Island.
There's no question pending. You get that through your noggin? Wow.
We're gonna do the closing argument, is this considered closing?
No, we have to close it. This will be closing arguments at this time. Unless anybody else has any more questions. Okay. Yeah. Closing arguments.
I defer to my attorney from now on.
Don't sit down. Are you proposing that I argue first?
You are the respondent.
I am. I think it means I get the last word. You don't get to argue after me.
He started. Reverse order for the closing.
Let me know your ruling,
That's my ruling.
that I'm gonna argue first.
Yes.
On the agenda, it says respondent closing argument goes first, sir.
Well, they say that, but that's not the law. So there. If I'm directed to argue first.
Please do so.
Thank you. Cat calls from the audience are not appropriate.
Excuse me, we've only got a little while longer. Okay.
I hope I'll take as much time as I need.
I will definitely take all the time you need.
Okay. Rhode Island General Laws 17-1-31B lists the appropriate questions and issues to disqualify a challenged voter. Very few of them have been raised or asked by the board. The burden is on the complainants to disqualify the voter of a very important right. Insurance companies, tax collector, financial institutions, credit cards, income tax, motor vehicle registration. Not a peep. Addresses furnished to government agencies with whom the voter has contact. That probably would be Social Security. Not a peep, nothing asked. Hospital, convalescent home, or nursing home where he may have been. We stipulate that he was not in those institutions, and address furnished to the United States Postal Service on a change of address form. Silent. You are seeking to disenfranchise him. It's a heavy burden. I think you should consider how heavy it is. That's all.
The complainant, does anyone?
I have no closing arguments, except for I thank you for your time. I feel you took the right decision. Thank you.
Sure, the only statement I'd like to make was the arguments is, we've talked about it, we've given you the facts, the information. Mr. Hurst is already notified and stated that he does not live there, but does intend to vote tomorrow's election. I have a big problem with that. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Morrow?
He doesn't
No,
get in.
no.
Doesn't have-
Oh, he does, oh, okay.
Just the people that are.
The respondents.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
That's okay.
Okay. And now our arguments.
Well, somebody should make a motion to close the hearing,
Right. And then we'll.
and then you can have whatever discussion amongst yourselves that you like.
But do we do the closing arguments before we?
That's already been
That's already
done.
been done.
Okay,
Yes.
it's ours
Yeah.
too, ours too.
I make a motion, or somebody's make a motion.
Motion to close the hearing?
I second the motion. And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are going to sit in open session and discuss so that nothing is done behind closed doors. All right.
Are you seeking to have that be part of the record?
Who wants to know if his stenographer should continue to take down your, well, that is, well, it's, I mean, whether he types it down or not, it's going to be recorded. So I don't see any harm in it.
All right.
So, would you like it?
Please.
So you're indicating to my private reporter that he is to record the discussion of the board.
Are you requesting this?
I
to
don't
be
care. But
Transcribed or not?
I don't care, but I want an answer. If it's to be part of the record, he'll record it. If it's not, they're in their own devices as to how they want to commemorate it.
This is being recorded, Mr. Goldberg, so it's part of the record and it's being recorded, so.
That may be satisfactory to you, counsel, but not to me. I have my own thoughts about sanctity of record. And I just want to be clear as to whether or not my stenographer is to remain to record it.
It's his stenographer. I'd like him to tell us if he wants him to keep typing or not.
If it's public, yes. If not, no.
We're in public.
Very well.
You're
Have at it.
you're making him.
Have at it.
Well-
we just start with where it was started, with The building. The building. It's right here. Immediately. Right. Which, when you read
Yes,
the
centuries.
yeah, when you read that, dated in there. And it says here. It's uninhabited. Danger of low structure, unsanitary conditions. There's no sanitation, there was no.
There was no
running.
water.
We should be,
there was no
this should be like a discussion that everyone can hear.
Right, okay,
Oh, all
yeah,
right.
because, yeah, the hearing is over.
They're trying to take notes, and the stenographer is trying, it's gotta be silent. We're trying to figure out what we want in our discussion. And it's gonna go on the record. All right.
And we will set the date for rendering the decision. The final decision will not be rendered today.
I think if it's helpful, Madam Chair, to go back to really, this all comes back, I think, in my opinion, to the statute that tells us what someone's residence is for voting purposes.
Right.
So a person's residence for voting purposes is his or her fixed and established domicile. And the determinant of one's domicile is that person's factual physical presence in the voting district on a regular basis, incorporating an intention to reside for an indefinite period. The domicile is the place to which, upon temporary absence, he or she has the intention of returning. Once acquired, this domicile continues until another domicile is established. A person can only have one domicile, and the domicile shall not be considered lost solely by reason of absence for any of the following reasons. It lists 4 that don't apply here. So Mr. Hurst's situation does not seem to fall within those 4 examples that they provide here. So I think what the board's focus is really is this a temporary absence? And is this a, you know, and you know, this comes down to your factual, it's difficult because this is not the best definition in the world. We also have a regulation which says that a person who does not have a fixed and permanent place of living can register in the place where they've been staying or where they've been sleeping. And so the law is not perfect here. We did ask for additional guidance from the State Board of Elections, which declined to provide that to us because they are the body that would hear any appeal of this. And so you have to do your best with this definition. It's not perfect. It leaves, I think, some gray area here for you to make a decision.
But it's how many months he's been out of the town, and we're not taking away his voting rights. That was our big decision.
Right.
On before.
Right.
We don't want to take away his voting rights.
Right.
But with him now living in the town and at a residence, and we wouldn't be taking away his voting rights. He would be able to vote in whatever town he resides in until he has a permanent residence in the town of Hopkinton. And we've had, all of these things have been entered in to the district, into the record today. And even in Connecticut, he can still vote. He could have still voted in Connecticut. But as he has stated numerous times to us, he only wants to vote in Hopkinton. And he because he knows the law and what have you. But as far as I'm concerned, if you know the law, you're not following. He didn't follow it because he went into the building.
And ran for legal office, not having a legal residence. The
Right.
issue of domicile
And
is
we let
crucial
him do
here.
that.
Right. And he can use the Board of Canvassers address in Providence to protect his right to vote, but that's not in our township, not in our district. So we're not saying he cannot vote. We're just saying he has, by removing himself from residing in this town, he does not have the right to vote here. Right,
And he's been out more than 6 months.
right,
He
Right.
defied by going into the building. It's not a crime.
right.
And that's all in the.
Right.
And either wherever he's been, he could have
He could have
voted.
voted.
He could have.
Does the record include a copy of his current driver's license?
I don't believe so.
Don't
but
remember
I
seeing
think
that.
it's in. Yes.
Yes,
Driver's license has 20 Maple Court,
Yes.
Ashway.
I'm just double
Right,
checking.
The address. All of the documents have been to his post office box,
Which does not count as a residence.
which does
not
not
qualify
count
you
as
as a resident.
Doesn't count as a
And
resident.
so he's already in arrears that he's using for his ID, something that is not complying with the law. As read by one of our complainants.
And living in the town. It has no idea. I mean, it could be a year and a half before he gets it, because it's not, he hasn't filled all of the things out yet.
Right, right.
So
Right.
until he has residence, he can't vote here. In
Well,
over 6 months.
We are
not
going
wanna
to
take it
make
away
the
from him.
decision, we'll make the decision.
Mhm.
And, is there anything else you want, are we gonna put into the record?
I don't think so.
Anything else you want to put into the
I can't think of anything else.
record?
No, just as part of the closing arguments is the gentleman has himself stated that he's homeless and.
And he doesn't, he only wants to vote.
Right,
He will not,
right.
he doesn't, won't do anything for us, basically.
Right.
That's what he's stated
won't
over and
register.
over and over.
right, right. And that's not our problem. He legally can use the Board of Canvassers address to vote, but he cannot use the address in Hopkinton to vote.
I think that
From somewhere else.
Yes.
I think you should try to focus on whether or not this is truly a temporary absence or not, because that is really, I think, the key term in the statute here is temporary absence.
We have no idea when he's going, when he can get in.
Right.
He doesn't have any idea.
Right,
I
right.
mean, we don't know if there's 20 or 30
But-
people.
But factually, we know he hasn't lived here since the 23rd of August. And again, it's the same law for
He's
every voter.
technically not a resident.
If you're not a vote, if you're not a resident.
You're
Yeah,
not a
it doesn't
voter.
say here, an amount of time exactly.
Right. So if this is appealed, that may come up.
Well, I think, right, I mean, that's the issue. I mean, intention of returning is one of the factors here, and he's testified that he has an intention of returning, but you would have to decide, is that credible?
If we
Right.
And
want
because,
to let
because
him
it's
continue
either a
to be
temporary or a
resident,
permanent absence.
Right.
we would have to decide if we want him to.
Well, he could be reinstated if he does take up residence here
Yes.
again. No problem.
No
That's
no problem at all.
If he gets approved for the residencies he's trying to get, he could be reinstated. Again, there's a set time for that. 6 months? You have to be 6 months and a day to regain your
Is that
For
the vote?
residing,
I
vote.
don't think that's the vote. That's to
No.
serve on that's to be like, to
It's
be
a
elected or
good
serve on the
Right,
board.
thank
Oh.
you for clarifying. But he's already doing that without satisfying that requirement.
He's not on any town positions.
Right,
At the
just a
moment.
Republican.
He has I believe he's on the town committee, which is not part of the town.
Town committee's not part of town?
Just as
No,
soon-
that's part of the
Republican
political
committee.
He
party.
can
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
reinstated just as soon as he gets a residency in town. And he could get it tomorrow, but he hasn't done. he hasn't
Anything
done
until March.
anything yet, You know, and we did have, they were stating somewhere, we do have, he did give us how much he made per month.
Yeah, 1,400.
And it wasn't enough to go someplace, wherever
Right.
he wanted to go.
Right.
It wasn't enough money.
But I think really it's about the credibility of, you're here to judge. Part of what your job is today is to judge the witness's credibility and decide if this is a temporary absence. I think really that's what it comes down to.
Well, we could let it go on for 2 years if we wanted to. I mean,
It's not fair to the other voters.
no.
We
Well,
have
it's
to
not fair
observe the law.
complainants that have complained.
Right.
I mean.
We took an oath to
And he is,
maintain the law.
my thing is he's defied every single
Yes.
thing.
Yes,
I only want to do this.
yes,
And nobody can say no to it.
no. Right,
And that
right. That's part
to
of the
me is
problem.
very, very hard.
Okay.
That's our decision. All right, you want to make a decision?
Well, we
Yeah.
have to set the date
We
to
have to
render
set-
our decision, which would be a week from today, probably, originally.
What is the date a week from today?
We
Oh,
can, yeah.
thank you. All right, this is the date.
Right.
Here, right?
No, this is March.
Oh, it's the wrong one.
It is
They wanted to confuse me.
you see it?
It's
April.
Today is the 7th. Be the 14th.
Right.
14th.
Right. Now, the decision will be rendered in writing, or we have to have a
We
public?
will have the decision in writing.
If you direct me to prepare a written decision, I can start working on that.
Okay, yeah, we would like to have it in writing and we will open a meeting to make the one decision.
But I will need to know what your decision is before I can finalize the written decision. No, you don't need to vote on what your decision is today. I can start to prepare a decision by
All right.
summarizing
All right.
what happened
Okay.
during the
And
hearing,
then-
but I need to know what your decision is
And then
before
we
I
will
can
vote on the
finalize it.
decision.
Well,
Next.
I think you need to set a date.
Yeah, we thought about the 14th,
Yes.
next Monday.
You just make sure there's nothing else.
Okay.
the
Let me
next
see
page.
what did they got.
Uh,
Town council
ne-
meeting
next
is
page.
on the next page. No.
It's clear.
9:30 in the morning.
Well, I shouldn't.
We should.
No. Well, the agenda says that you would be setting a date for your decisions,
Right. Okay.
so you shouldn't vote today.
All right, it'll be the 14th, which will be next Monday at 9:30 in the morning. We will have a written decision made.
Well, the written decision, I can't
No,
finalize until you've
we
voted.
will decide that.
Well, you'll
Second.
vote on what your decision is, and then I can start preparing a decision, because I can put together a document where I kind of summarize,
Mhm.
here's what the evidence and the testimony was. But I can't finish that until I know what your decision is.
On that morning, do we make the decision?
Well, yeah, you would vote.
On
You would,
that
you would
morning?
convene, open a meeting, and then you would
And
vote
vote.
on what your decision is, and then I can finalize the written decision.
Okay,
But you'll have all the evidence lined up.
Well, right,
Or
I
is
can,
it
I
covered?
can start drafting it up because now we've had the hearing, so I know who testified and what they said and what the evidence
How it
was.
relates to the legality of the situation.
Right, but I can't finalize that until I know how you vote.
Good. I think we've got enough information. Yep. Move to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Yes,
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank everyone for being here.